I just accidentally cast Timothée Chalamet as the main character in my novel. So here's the first image that I found that I thought captured Evan really well. And yeah, that's Timothée Chalamet. I didn't know that. I had literally just watched Dune. Like last week, I finally watched Dune. It was fine. But I showed these to my son and I was like, yeah, I'm casting the characters. And he goes, Timothée Chalamet? And I was like, nah, that's just like some kid on Pinterest. No, it's definitely him. So as I'm writing my novel, I'm using some new techniques that I've never used before, at least in this capacity. This week I'm going to talk about casting your novel. I've never done it, and I found it was a really fun experiment to try out. As with all writing techniques or writing advice, your mileage may vary, right? Give it a try. If it works, great, and if it doesn't, leave it. No big deal. But I tried it. I think I like it. We're going to see how it goes as I continue to develop my draft. But for now, let's talk about the process, what I did, what I liked, and what I didn't like about doing it. And here we go. So pretty much what I was looking for is to cast my main group of characters in my novel. Some of whom I'd already written about, and some of whom I only knew as a brief concept. I went into casting trying to figure out a little bit more about who these characters were and see if I could develop a little bit more about them based on who I found that represented them. So what I did was I went to Pinterest and I started searching using a couple of keywords to describe that character. And as I searched, I paged down and just looked for something that connected with me. None of these are going to be perfect. It's just a limited amount of pictures on the internet and a limited amount of time. But you can go through and find somebody that you think connects with you a little bit, kind of has something that you like. Choose it, maybe save a few options, and then make the choice over time. One of the things I've found as a director of films is that my job is infinitely easier if I cast well. And so this is no different. If you're finding an image of somebody that captures the character really well, your job is going to be much easier to convey or write about that character based on what you're seeing. So what did I really like about casting my novel? I think the first thing is that it really helps you define what a character is to you, what their essence is. And in doing so, I think it helps you with the logline practice. You get one adjective, one noun to define your character. Keep it as simple as possible. What is their essence? Are they quirky? Are they fun? Are they silly? Are they serious? Are they melancholy? Choosing that one adjective impacts so much about them as a person. And obviously, we're going to create really compelling, wide-ranging characters. But being able to get it down to one adjective and one noun is super, super important for log lines, for being able to convey who your character is in a elevator pitch or any of those things. And I really like that part of it. So that's the first thing I really like, is just choosing those adjectives and then finding images that kind of convey that in your mind. It's all subjective, so whatever. The second thing that I loved about this process was that as soon as I found an image that conveyed that essence to me, instantly they were filled out a little bit more. Their essence expanded, their backstory expanded, so suddenly I was able to start creating more around those characters just based on having chosen one image. And it started to give them a voice, started to work with me to differentiate a little bit. When Evan is talking, what does he look and sound like versus what does Ryan look and sound like? And I look at that picture and I go, I know what he kind of sounds like. And now I could play with that and build on that and use it. The third thing that I really liked is that it helped me find details that I would have definitely not thought about. I'm not very good at those detail type things just because I don't think about them. So I wouldn't know whether or not somebody had freckles or not, or whether or not they had a little dimple, or whether or not their hair curled sideways, or whether or not they had bangs or not. I don't know. I probably wouldn't be thinking about that as I wrote my novel. I would be writing about what they did and how they felt about it, what they say. And so this really did help me a lot to stop and go, no, what are the details about this character? How do they look? What is that? And it's just not something that I would spend a lot of time doing. And the last thing I really like about it is that it's fun. It's just a fun exercise. Go through who is my character? Can I get them down to their essence? And then find an image that conveys that in a way that I can use for the future. And I found that I absolutely could, and it was such a good time. Some of the things I didn't like about it. Well, the first is that I don't want to feel limited. I don't want to get that image and now have to describe them exactly as it says in there. No, look at the picture. That's what they look like. I don't know. It's totally fine if they don't look like that. It's more about the essence and all of that. So that would be one of my solutions to this problem, is to not limit yourself to the image. Use it as a stepping off point and then build from there. Your imagination gets to be the key for all of this. So if the image works, great. If you have to break away from the image, great. It doesn't matter. The second thing not to like is that I did inadvertently cast a megastar in my main role. And I don't want that to be something that is obvious in my description of Evan in the novel or anything. I hope that when you read the novel, you have no idea that I cast Timothée Chalamet as the character. And then if later they made a movie about my novel and they cast him, that'd be dope, but it wouldn't seem like I wrote with him in mind. I have a different idea that I've written the main script for, but I would love to turn into a novel. And one of the main characters in there, when I was writing that screenplay, in my head, it was like, dude, this is Stone Cold Steve Austin, the wrestler. And I was sold on that. And now I don't want somebody to read it and go, only Stone Cold Austin could play this role. I would love it if they read it and said, Stone Cold Austin would be great. But then if someone else read it, it would also be great. So if you're going to cast George Clooney in a role or Jennifer Aniston or something like this, and then all of a sudden you describe them exactly as that, I don't know if that's a great idea, just because it feels so obvious and so weird. I think there should be some wiggle room with that. I don't think it should be obvious. I want you to be able to identify with my characters and interact with them, even if you don't love that actor or whatever. And the last thing I don't like about it is it's not writing, I think. So I think that there's absolute validity to the idea that you could be working on your novel by doing this type of exercise, or writing character bios, or building out your story world, writing the rules of the universe. I think all of that work is actually super important. I also think, though, and feel free to disagree, that those things aren't writing. They're not getting the words on the page. Do they help get the words on the page? Absolutely. It helps to make those processes easier, but it's not actually writing. And as if in the world I need more things to help me procrastinate from writing. Any of us writers know it's hard to sit down and get the words down. It's hard to get the pages done. So this type of exercise, while super fun, can take away from your time writing at the computer. If you have a finite amount of time to write and you had the choice between doing this and writing, I would lean toward doing the writing, but like I said, it can make later writing easier, as I do think it helped clarify some things about my characters. And one solution I would have for that problem in this process is to limit your time. Don't let yourself search endlessly. If you type a character description and you don't see it on that first page that you scroll through, retype it. Choose a different adjective, because then you might see it instead of just like page 6, page 7, page 8. You're probably not going to find it at that point because either you weren't being precise enough, or the images they have don't match it, whatever, it doesn't matter. Limit your time so that you could get back to work. Hope everyone's doing well. I hope that you're all staying busy creatively. I have been busy. I've been writing every day. I've not been hitting my word count every single day, but I have been working on it every day, which is something that I haven't done in a long time, and I look to build back as I rebuild these muscles to learn how to do what I've always loved to do, which is write. Thanks for watching.